Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. HipHopMike live from the crib via quarantine. And I have a special guest here who I've been a big fan of for a long time. Not only does he hit hard with the bars, but he also is one hell of a boxer from what I hear. Ace Hood is hanging out with me, man.
Brother, man. Happy to be here, bro.
Yo,
Glad.
thank you. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you just got married. You got the wife, the whole, you living your best life. I don't want to take you away for too long.
No, it's fine, bro. It's fine. Look, we ain't got much to do during this self-preservation time anyway, It's a lot of planning, work.
Where are you checking in from?
Shit, I'm in Broward right now, bro. Broward County.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you back at home, just kind of laying low, making the most of all this?
Yeah, bro. That's all I can do now, spending time, with the family. I get the kids soon, I'm excited about that for summer. So I'm just really laying low, man. Been reading, just putting all work into myself, you know what I'm saying? And just to the things around me as well, so.
Nah, I love it, man. I know Mr. Hood is dropping on Friday morning, Thursday night vibes.
Yeah.
I got to sit with it. I think it sounds incredible. People have a lot to look forward to.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I'm excited, bro, honestly, for sure. For sure, I'm excited. Yeah.
So when did you put the finishing touches on this project? Like, was it during quarantine or was this ready to go before all this kind of hit us?
It was ready to go before all of this hit us, honestly. I had this project in a can. I think it was wrapped up like towards like the ending of 2019. I had the project pretty much wrapped up because it was supposed to come a lot sooner than now, that was my plan. But just with the madness of 2020 and all this has happened, like, it just forced us to kind of move some things and push some things back, move some things around. But yeah, it's been done, bro. It's been capped off.
All right. Well, it sounded real good. I want to take them back a little bit. So, I mean, there's a record on here called "Look in My Eyes," where you got a line you like grinding all your life, waiting on a payout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the perfect way to set this all off because, I mean, people think of Ace Hood, they think you've been paid out for a long time. And, I want to kind of take it back to how we got to this project. Being in a major situation obviously comes with its ups and downs. I've been in situations that would be considered major also that didn't feel specifically major to me. And through time, I kind of learned that game and how to apply it to my own personal style and then to, ultimately flourish. So let's take them back, man. Doing this whole major situation, now stepping out, being a guy that's doing something completely independently and dropping his Mr. Hood. How did we get here? How was the evolution? And, when did this project start for you?
Oh, man, this actually, I think the evolution of Mr. Hood started a while ago, bro, because I would play records literally for like 5 or 6 years ago, and I would hear me saying Mr. Hood in the record, so I always knew that it was like predetermined, predestined for me. But I do think that, in that particular bar, like, there are, I've been able to do so many cool things in the industry, right? Like I've been a part of so many great things, so many great moments, and being able to put out, great records that's helped people and just done, top charts and all these great things. So there's a level of fulfillment there. You know what I mean? There is a level of fulfillment. So it's not like when I say look in my eyes, and it's like not saying that I haven't, it's just saying that what I'm expecting and what I'm like, just the faith that I got in myself and knowing where I could be as opposed to where I am or what I've been through and knowing my trajectory is much higher. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I want more, man. Like I've been able, like I say, to accomplish a lot, but the Mr. Hood and that entire journey is just me just in search of who I am. It's just in search of my freedom. You know what I'm saying? Like my search as a person, as a man, as a father, you know what I mean? As all of that, as a partner in a relationship. So throughout the time, people may have heard me on a commercial scene, haven't heard me in a while. So it's like I've been developing all of that, all of those like systems, for a while. And that's how we've gotten to Mr. Hood, to me being, just, I don't know, man, just like a philosopher, like,
just I mean? Evolving as a person, it sounds like, obviously having kids, getting married, this routine. I mean, I was reading the GQ article about just the workout on the daily. That takes a lot of discipline, man. And I think we've heard it in the music, but to kind of hear behind the scenes, you've been disciplined and evolving as well, I think is awesome.
Yeah, bro. Thank you.
Where did the discipline kind of come in? Like, when did that start for you, and what were some of the first things that you kind of started doing to get your head in a place where you could do so much things on your own? Because I think people that, you know, are first getting started in music, they always think that it's kind of like a lottery win, and when that one song takes off, the team comes and it's just a walk in the park. And I think quickly people learn that that's not the case, and then you have two options: you take to Twitter and complain about your team, or you take to, you know, the gym and you really work that stuff out. And I guess the meditating also on a mental note. But where did that begin for you? Was that before you kind of started in the industry, or did that come along the way?
This came along the way, right? So I feel like I think it's just all a part of evolving, man. I think if people listen to my project from my first album, you know, up until my last album, which was Trials and Tribulations, you know, I think like it was always meant for me to be this thing, I think, because, you know, even though I may not have known back then, there were still records that, true records, and I would just always write from a true and authentic place, you know what I'm saying? And I think that I wanted to exercise that person more, you know what I mean? Like, as opposed to, like, I do think the Bugattis and all the other records are great records, but do it explain who I am as a person? Do explain my legacy and what do I want to leave on this earth, and what do I want to say moving forward? Not necessarily, but it's a great record though, you know? So for me, it was just figuring out, what do I want to be? I can be this thing, and you may not know much about me or who I am, about my legacy, but you know I made hits. Yeah. So that's what's the standpoint, as opposed to me wanting people to know who Ace Hood is as a person, as a human being, because to me, that's the inspiring thing. It's like, an artist is one thing. It's still a persona of this thing. For me, it isn't no thing. It's just, you know, becoming the best version of yourself, you know? So this journey has started for me really like probably 5-6 years ago. Like, at the time of when I was like, you know what, I started exploring. I moved to LA for a little bit. This is when I dropped Starvation 4 around this time. And I was just, I was really stepping outside of the box because I wanted to see something different. You know, it just, you know, it was an issue for me, man, to have these great records, but I couldn't go to this one place and sell out 5,000 people or 3,000 people or do this, you know, but you got these great records. So for me, it started, there's real perspective for that. When you got other artists who's being themselves, being a human being, and people are in tune with that more, you know what I'm saying? So I became infatuated with that idea of just like, you know what if I became the best version of myself? What if I became this higher level version, and people could see that, and people could exercise this as well, you know what I mean? Like, so I started telling my story in that way.
It starts outside the music too. I think it's got to compliment, you know, because it's funny you say Starvation 4 is where that transition happened, because I mean, one of my favorites is Starvation 3. You had I think Every Day was the record, where it's like you hear the hunger for sure. And I think that's one that you well deserved to be multi-platinum. Like, it's something that goes hand in hand with a lot of the bigger hits. But it's like you hear where the hunger is coming in, and then it's like to know you tip over Starvation 4 and then start this process. By the time you get to Mr. Hood, I mean, the evolution is clear, man. Like, it's, you know, as
that's what I wanted, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it, because you know what? The thing about it is like, I couldn't have had made the transition too fast, because you lose people. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, hold up, from riding in a Bugatti to doing this thing to just becoming this holistic human being. Like, so for me, even though people may not have seen it on a commercial level, like, my evolution had really started from that point. And then for me, even though I didn't know what it may have looked like, I know what it felt like. So for me, it was just like, look, I'm gonna trust the process, because I want people to also trust this process during me. And that's when I just went on that journey of like, look, I'm gonna trust this. Whatever unfolds, I am gonna trust it.
And I think it's smart too, man, because, you know, the fact that you were able to step back and trust the process and not force things. I think a lot of people, you know, I mean, it's true to your character, because I think a lot of people, they go just right for it. One day they wake up and they think they found this sort of enlightenment of some sort, or, you know, this different lane or motivation, whatever it may be. Everybody's different, but they're just like, I'm going for it. And that's it. And it's very impulsive, and it doesn't necessarily blend and work out the way that I think this has worked out for you. It seems on both personal levels and when it comes to being this public figure in the music.
Yeah. I didn't want to move too soon, man. I think I was mindful of all of that. I think I did a lot of research on the people who, you know, were in some sort of like, you know, or just came from a place like the Coles or the Kendricks, or like, you know, people that speak from a true place, you know, and use metaphors and put these stories together. And I just was able to see you know what I mean? I just didn't want to say something before it was too soon, because a lot of times people wake up and think they're enlightened already. And for me, sometimes I did have those days, but it's still understanding that you're a student to this, and there's so much for you to learn. There's so much before you go off and like, I gotta really live it in order to be able to tell you about it. Like, I can't just tell you about some shit that I think I am. It's like, no, I went through it. This is how I'm able to tell you this, and like, and just showing you what's on the other end of that spectrum. It's like on the other side of going through all of this. So it definitely was a task, and I had to be very mindful of it, very conscious.
Sure. And I think with any growth, it comes with the ups and downs. And, when you're up, you don't ever think there's going to be that day that you're tempted to maybe eat something crazy or, to do something that be out of the ordinary. But, the fact that you was able to acknowledge that and then push through is insane. One thing that stands out also with this album, I don't know if anybody knows the sample that y'all used with this 12 o'clock joint yet, but I think it's genius how y'all bridge the classics that a lot of kids is not going to even know who that came from or what it is, but you put Jacquees on it, who is super in tune with the kids, I mean, as well as yourself, and then the sound brings it up to today. Whose evil genius plan was that? Because I mean, I didn't pick up a lot of other samples on a project that were that clear.
Yeah. I'm not always huge into like samples, because like they can get expensive.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Smart man.
Like, yeah, so I don't like to indulge too much. I like to, but I was willing to take a risk. I got a relationship with Usher, and he's a great person, man. It's always love every time we see each other. And just shout out to him for clearing the record. And I wanted to just, with the entire project alone, bro, I wanted to do something just, show my versatility and to give fans like just a small perspective of like what's to come for the future. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you're hearing records like We Ball, you're hearing records like 12 o'clock, you know what I mean? And you start to think to yourself like, okay, this is a newer version of Ace that we've heard before. Like, thank God that a lot of people love it and they like the new version. So it's like, that's what you're going to get in the future. And for me, I just wanted to just really just test run it. And it was my idea to just create it. We in the studio, me and my homies, and we like, yo, we messing around with just a few different sounds in our mind. And my homie ended up saying like, yo, what if you did something like, what if we said, because he ended up bringing it's a part that I didn't put in the first hook, but I put in the second hook.
The homie that gets all the girls, I'm guessing.
Right. So he came up with that idea, and I was like, man, I wanted to do something more like old school, new school, and bring like that back. Exactly what you said. I'm like, people know about this, but they don't. And this was such, really a part of my childhood. And I wanted to, open up a sexier side of myself, dog. You know what I mean? Like, so, and I thought it was fun. And I think that, it ended up feeling like a little duet between me and Jacquees almost. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like a
little vibe.
Almost with like Nelly did with Kelly Rowland or something that time with the, So it's, I'm creating, man. I'm trying shit, dog.
Nah, you doing it, man. I'm trying to pull up the track list because there was one other record on there. It was a feature. It was maybe one of the first 3 records. But Homeboy went off on it. Slim Diesel. Who is Slim Diesel? And how the fuck did he do that? Because that shit, my man sounded crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy because even when I played it for my partners over at Empire, they said the same thing about his version. When he came on, it was like, yo, he snapped. So Slim is like one of my good friends. He's from Miami. He's my brother, man, and I'm just, helping him out in any way that I can, man, in terms of just him lifting his career off the ground. Just trying to give him some direction, but we've been friends for a while, and that's my dog, man. I like working with true people. It's not really about the big names and stuff for me, so keeping that hunger, working with these younger guys, working with guys like my guy Slim, Jacquees, people like that. So, yeah, bro.
Nah, I definitely, man, and I feel like that is genuine because, I mean, not just does it say that everything's organic. They say when you think of a rapper, organic is the word on the EPK that would describe you. But I'd say genuine goes right up there, man, because, I mean, record after record, we could go through all of these. There's a lot of variety. You definitely sense, like, the genuine emotions on it. And I don't think you oversaturated it. I think you found that balance, man, which is very tough to do.
Yeah, so, thank you, bro.
No, much love. I mean, bro, shit, we watch people all the time. I'm sure you're just a fan of, you a fan of music the same way I am. And watch a lot of people that they do a lot of these things that I think compromise, I don't want to say integrity, but they compromise who people are to kind of fit into this mold.
Yes.
And, you know, I'd say that's one thing that made me super excited to speak with you today is like, just after kind of being familiar with the music, you know, listening to this project, hearing some of the things you speak on, whether it's, you know, you could still have millions not being on the radio. These are things that people need to hear.
Yes.
That a lot of people don't necessarily hear, and a lot of people don't take the chances. Like people that are in position don't take the chances to tell, you know, because it's easy to rap about the lean and the perks and all that, but it's like to really add to the substance says a lot. And, you know, I think you're a dude that people need to start looking up to because clearly you still successful without selling out, and it's possible to do out here.
Yeah, it's very possible to do. It's still a journey. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, there's, you know, independent is a very tough journey. If you're coming from being on a major label and transitioning to independence, you're talking about working with an entire team that's dedicated to, you know, curate your projects and just to take your brand and your thing to the next level. That was different when all of these ideas are mainly coming from you. You know what I'm saying? Which means that I have to put the team together and I have to structure this and hire this guy. So it's like, that might be the toughest thing I think about independence in its all. But, you know, so I have my days, bro. I have my days when it's tough. And sometimes you feel like, man, this is just overbearing or it's overwhelming, you know. But just the firm belief in myself and knowing that I have what it takes. I am worthy. You know what I'm saying? And because also, too, what led me to create music like this, side note from what I'm saying, is that, you know, I wasn't raised technically with a big homie. My dad and all that wasn't there. So I kind of became that. You know what I'm saying? I became the one thing that I wanted for myself, you know, is in search of a mentor in a sense, somebody that could, you know, look at things from a much wider perspective and just, you know what I'm saying, help you understand life and things that we deal with in terms of fear and anxiety and things in real life and just like outside of, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just became infatuated with that. So I became that thing that I want, that change that I wanted to see. Cause I'm like, man, I want to be able to push somebody who don't even know about fear or don't even know why their mind and their thoughts think the way that they think and like, how did it happen and how did it get here and how to move through it. So that's what matters. Because when you look back later on in life, dog, that's what's going to matter.
I think that's such a great point, man, because like not for nothing, a lot of people are subscribed to the shenanigans and I think there's a beauty to it. Like I was kind of raised myself also. I came up in group homes and this and that. And, you know, really you don't have time to subscribe to the bullshit when you're raising yourself. You know, like you really could only focus on things that kind of spark something within you to go a certain way, whether it's like through the inspiration or something that stands out, like a lyric or whatever it may be. And, you know, a lot of people take for granted that self-discovery. Like, you know, artists, there's so many artists out here, man, that I know the music might not be sticking, but like they would be just as successful on some management tip. And they don't see it that way. A lot of people, they don't figure out how to do something that's just true to them and find that rap money through a different type of hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard, man. Cause like it's, you know, we all want to be relatable, right? Like we all want to relate to our environment. So it's like, in terms of relating to your environment, what do you see most of the time? If you step out in our environment, the cool thing gets to be, you know, have a drip and have all of this and the expensive clothes and to ride this type of car and to be this way. That's what the majority of our society and community is telling us now, right? So how do you go against that? Like, how do you go against what's the cool and what everyone else is doing? So it takes a strong and unbelievable, unwavering faith in yourself to be able to say, I'm going to create something new. From a place and I've never seen, from, you know, in a way that I've never seen, because what I'm doing like is creating a much healthier space in hip hop, and I know that sounds insane for people, you know, because we disrespect women and do everything on the other end of the spectrum, but on my end, it's like what's on the other end is love, honor, respect, and, you know, integrity and all of these other things, and I think I don't knock neither one of them because I've been to that place too, and I still go back and forth. You know, it's just the balance of life. I meditate, go on the chains, and still hit the club and go smoke one and catch a vibe. That's me. You feel me?
Thanks.
So
like, you know? I say, bro, for real, like, you know, not that I'm like the biggest thing in this game to give it the cosign, but I say this, like, you know, I give you a lot of credit because I think everybody evolves at some point. And, you know, I tell people all the time, a lot of these kids is out here with the drugs and the money is spending and they're giving his money as kind of their personal test to see if they're going to blow the bag or if they're going to invest it. If they see if they're going to do twice the drugs or if they're going to cut down on them. And, you know, as somebody that has clearly been put through that test, whether it's being next to some of the biggest names in the game, having the number ones, I'm sure there's plenty of plaques on the wall somewhere in that crib. Like, you know what I mean? You've passed the test because, I mean, how many artists are standing where you're standing, you know, evolved past so many projects and been able to still come out with bangers that are relevant today with people that are reputable. I mean, shit, you got Usher to clear a sample like that. It's crazy. That shit is crazy.
I'm so excited about that, bro. You have no idea. Yeah.
That's incredible, bro, for real. So I'm excited for people to hear the project. I'm sure you're 10 times as excited. And yeah, man, I really appreciate the time. I'm gonna let you get back to the wife, the fam, and all that. But
my brother. Thank
much
you, bro.
love, for real. Keep up the great work, and I hope people take a lot from this interview.
Yes, brother. Thank you, my boy. Hopefully when it's all done with, bro, we link up, man. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and get ready for this workout one day. Maybe we hit the gym or something. I'm gonna get, this is crazy. Like, I mean, before I let you go, let me just read this off just so people could really understand the discipline, because it's not just with music. It says 5 sets of 25 push-ups, wide, closed, decline, incline, and diamond push-ups 3 times a day. For the abs, 5 sets of 40 morning, 5 sets of 40 morning, afternoon, and dinner for the abs. Sets of 3, 15 to 25 of the dips. Lunges, 3 sets for 15 reps. Hamstrings, 3 sets for 15 reps twice a day.
Yeah.
Calf raises he does all day. It's just no stopping the calf raises.
No stop. No stop.
And then 3 sets of 30 on the squats. If you go in your house right now, if you're watching this, try and do 10 squats, let alone 3 sets of 30.
Yeah. I've been doing so much, you know, because before I had like the weights incorporated with it, but I wanted to do something like people who home, you know what I mean? Like calisthenics work. And once you do it, like literally this workout not has become very simple, but like I done all the body weight exercises I can do during this time of self-preservation, bro. Honestly, I need some weights. I'm ready to go back.
Get the vest.
I got the vest too. I got the vest. I got chains. I got all of that, you know, but it's just something about, you know, just them free weights, bro. Throwing that heavy weight on your back, picking up them squat racks and stuff. So I ain't got that type of home set up at home. I'm going to build one now, but, you know, I ain't think the pandemic would. Listen, I was on honeymoon while the pandemic was happening. When we traveled back,
came back to it.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, literally, that's how it happened for me. It's like marriage, and then we got honeymoon, Bali, 2 weeks, came back from Bali to lockdown. Like, that's you feel me?
Extended honeymoon.
Extended honeymoon, bro. But God is the greatest, though, man. Like, you know.
Nah, that's a fact, man. And it's beautiful. You got somebody to complement everything, you know, so regardless, you don't have to invest so much energy into just the music, but like you've gotten to the point, man. That's why I say you passed the test, bro. You ain't collapsed. You ain't in no rehabs. You ain't on TMZ getting clowned.
I know, bro. I know.
Doing well, man. You dropping crazy flips. Like, you going nuts.
Thank you, man. Thank you, my brother. Because I think I really appreciate that. I really want you to know I appreciate that, because I think like I've been such a hard critic on myself, you know, and such a perfectionist, I think, throughout this time. And I don't always give myself the credit that I think that I deserve for what I've done, for what I continue to do. So I'm in a new space now where I'm just allowing myself to really be great, really be great.
Do you think you found that balance? Like, is that ever a balance that you find in this game between being humble but also being just like ruthless?
Absolutely. That's probably
a very tough balance, bro.
It's a very tough balance people don't understand, because it's like in the same way it's super positive, I am also a dog and an animal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really true. So it's like
to pick and choose when to be that dog is because there's opportunities you could bite somebody, and it's like maybe that's not somebody you should bite right now. You know?
And I think, and you know what? That's the only point right there. That's the only teaching is above all is knowing when to like implement, but you know what I mean, when to bring this forth and when to bring this forth.
Nice.
Right, you know, bringing that pride and that ego down and just saying like, all right, cool, now it's time to turn up, where he's like, you're right, you got that, I was wrong in this case, like, you know. So you're right, bro. Very tough balance.
You got it, man. You got it with this project for sure. This is perfectly balanced. So
yes, sir. That's what I want.
My man, thank you so much, bro.
Thank you too, my brother. Bless you, bro.
Have a great day. Y'all know Mr. Hood dropping this week.
Yep. We up.